So we just wrapped up our Handy Handbags SVG bundle. You can see the three pieces here in front of me. We've got the Simply Stripes handbag that's wide open, plenty of room for a gift, and also a little compartment for either a small gift or it actually fits a gift card, which is very convenient. And we've got our damask box here, opens up on top, well, from the top. Nice little handbag, plenty of room, and then finally our fancy floral handbag here. I think this is probably the crowd favorite. Kind of opens up like this. Nice little compartment there for a gift. This one comes with a tag, as does this one. Okay, so anyway, we have a coordinating freebie to go along with it, and it is our little gift card / money holder. It's kind of got a wallet form factor. So let's take a look at it. It's a very simple piece. Now I have pre-scored everything. I ran this through my Cricut maker, already pre-folded everything. So here is your first piece. Okay, and before we do anything, I'm gonna do a little bit of inking, and you can see these are the pattern papers that we selected. And we're gonna ink this with green, but I'm not sure which green I'm gonna use. If I had to guess now, it's probably gonna be this Bamboo Leaves, which is, all these are basically by Dewdrop. These are Memento, we got Brilliance and Versa Magic. They all have their own qualities about them, but I took some of the scrap paper that I had from this cut and just cut them small. And I'm going to take and just kind of test out the inks on a scrap piece just to kind of see what sort of result I get so I can decide if that's what I'm going to use. Okay, so there's my first one. Now this one is obviously, the tone of that green is a little bit, there's a lot more blue in it, and I'm not sure that I like that. So I'm going to flip this over, my little pad here, and I'm going to try this hint of pesto, which I can already tell is probably not going to be the color because it's almost got more brown in it. That would work, but I think I want to really bring out the green leaves in this and not go for kind of an overall tone sort of look, because I guess if you blend all these together, the hint of pesto would work, but I really want to bring out the leaves on here, so I'm going to try this green. And I can already tell that this is what I'm going to go with. Okay, so tried out 3 different greens. This one's definitely more brown. This one's way too blue. This one has just what I'm looking for, so I'm going to go with that. Anyway, I'm demonstrating that just to show you that inking is not hard, and you don't have to commit to it, on the actual final piece. There's nothing saying you can't test things out. Chances are you're going to have a few pieces of scrap that you can test things out on. So why not do that instead of, just guessing and ruining your cardstock? Test things out, make sure you love it before you commit, and then start inking. And I still see messages in the group, which you can find a link to here below. People are scared to ink for some reason. Well, as I just demonstrated, there's absolutely nothing to be scared of, especially if you test things out on a scrap piece of paper. You got nothing to lose and a lot to gain, actually, because I was just having my weekly talk with Ron today, and I always bring up, not always, but occasionally we'll bring up inking for a project. And we've got a project coming up that has a lot of inking, and I always tell them, you know what? I don't mind it. I look forward to it because I typically start my projects out with inking. It's probably one of the more meditative things that I do when I'm putting these projects together. It helps kind of clear my mind, gets me in the zone, and preps me for the actual assemblies. So you'll notice that during a lot of our videos, my inking's already done. And the reason for that is, I don't want you guys to sit through a process that I've shown a million times. And literally, it's pretty much the same process. I mean, there's a couple different variations of what I do depending on what the project is. If it's flowers, it may, call for a different method. But for the most part, all I'm doing is putting a little bit of ink on my applicator. And these are Ranger felt applicators. You can use other things too. I've tried a number of different applicators, and this is the one that I prefer, just based on how it applies the ink to my cardstock. It's my go-to. You may have something else. I heard and read other people go out and buy their own felt and cut it to size. You can do that. I think if I had a little more time, I would probably do that. But anyway, as far as the inking goes, it's in this case, a very repetitive process. I'm simply just grazing the surface while also hitting the edge with a very light pressure. I'm really not pushing down too hard. If you push down harder, you will get more of that ink onto your surface, and that will give you a deeper sort of look and feel when it comes to your inking. But again, and you know what, I like to start off light with a light pressure, and if I want to add more, I can always do it by, just hitting the same surface again. Whereas if you start heavy, you really can't go back. There's no erasing it. So, start off light, see what you got. If you're happy with it, then you're happy with it. If not, if you're like, oh, well, could be a little darker, dab it again and just go over it again. And that will darken your inking. Okay, so really no wrong way to go about it. I encourage you to experiment and play with it. It's fun. Like I said, this is probably one of my favorite things to do when I'm doing any sort of assembly. It's almost like coloring. Well, I guess it is coloring, kind of. So anyway, almost done here. I kind of wanted to blab a little bit about why you shouldn't be afraid to ink, and I hope you give it a try. And also, one other thing too, if you're looking for these ink pads or the actual applicators, head on over to the Apple App Store or the Google Play Store for Android. Do a search for Dreaming Tree. I don't have my phone on me right now, but we have at the bottom of the app on the main page, there's a supplies section where there are links to most of our, well, pretty much all of our go-to supplies. There's certain things that we use occasionally that are not on that list, but we keep adding them as we realize that, hey, we use this a lot. Let's put it on here so people can find it. And I will try to, at the bottom of this YouTube video, add a link to our app on Google Play as well as the Apple App Store. Okay, so almost done inking. I'm kind of being a little more, not careless, but free-flowing with this ink job, only because this paper is already kind of, well, not grungy, but a little weathered looking, so I'm not overly concerned about perfection when I'm inking this piece right now. I think actually being a little more free-flowing with my inking here is adding to the overall aesthetic, where sometimes you have certain patterns where maybe you can't be as free-flowing and you want to be a little more careful and concise with your inking, but I'm very happy with that. Okay, so inking out of the way, it's pretty straightforward assembly. Just a couple things you want to keep in mind so that you don't get it wrong. Okay, let me think about this here. Yeah, okay. So we'll start off by putting our little money holder in place, okay? And you'll see here we've got this piece. I've already pre-folded all of the little score marks for the tabs. And you'll notice on the inside of this, there are a series of little markers there. And those markers are to help you with the placement of this, just to make sure that it's nice and centered and even. Okay, so it doesn't go, you don't want to put it all the way down by the score mark there. There are little indicators to help you make sure that you've got it nice and even here. So what we're going to do is we're going to put glue on these 3 tabs. And it may help to use a bone folder or something if you're using the maker to really fold those score lines so that they're not resisting so much. That's one, I always make this complaint, but I'm sorry if I sound like a broken record. The pressure on the scoring is not, it's not deep enough. But anyway, let's line that up with those little marks there. And now those tabs are under me, or under this piece here. So I'm pressing down where I put the glue, and I'm just going to push that down all the way around. And this is where you can put some money. Or if you're doing gift cards, you can add a little letter or a little note in here, whatever it is you want to add here. Now be patient with this, make sure that it's set so you don't want this coming apart. Okay, so what I'm probably going to do is just close this up and apply pressure here. Now this is the front. And the front and back are the same. It's the same piece. So it doesn't matter which piece you use. And those little markers there also help you with the alignment of the front piece. As far as up and down go, left and right, you're still going to want to make sure that you get it nice and centered. Okay, so let's get our glue on this piece here. And we'll pop that in place. And I'm saving the trickiest, and I say that jokingly because it's not that hard, but the trickiest part for last, which is our little gift card holder, because we want to make sure that we put our glue in the correct spot so that we don't, oops, I didn't have that very centered. And I just drank some coffee. It kind of makes me a little jumpy. I'm probably going to need to re-glue that because I didn't get it down in time. And it's been very dry in here lately. Now, let's see, maybe not. And the inking really adds to this. If I didn't ink it, I feel like it would not flow as well. You'd really see the edge here. That looks nice, and it did stay. And in the meantime, we're kind of pushing down on this as well, so that was handy. Now we can close this up. We got this little piece that's going to go right on here. We're going to try to center that as accurately as we can. And I think another reason, this time of year, when it's really dry in here, I should probably be using a little more glue. In the summertime, I think I can get away with not using as much because the humidity kind of keeps the glue moist longer. Okay, so that piece is going to go there. We're going to pop a little rhinestone on here as well as in these corners just to jazz this up a little bit. Okay, so that's that. Inside looks pretty good at this point. Flip this over and we'll get this back piece in place. And that just leaves one more little section for our little gift cards, and your little wallet is complete. So again, if you're doing gift cards and you're not doing money, you can always, cut out a little piece of paper, fit that in there with a little note, a stamp, whatever it is you want to include. But we're giving you all the different options here. There we go. Okay. And finally, I've got this piece here. Now you'll notice that on one side it's round, the other side it's flat. The round side is obviously going to go this way to match the round curve of the outer edge. And again, this we're going to line up with these little hash marks here as well. Now, because we're using this to hold gift cards, we don't want to put glue in any of these sections. We're just going to put glue around the perimeter, and the perimeter only. Okay, so I think we could, over here, and go a little bit further. And actually, you know what? I think as long as we stay within the little confines of where those slits are cut out, I think we're going to be okay. I'm going a little bit heavier around the perimeter here. Again, use those little markers to guide you. And how did I do? Not bad. Not bad at all. Just run your fingers around the perimeter, make sure that's getting really good contact. Okay, and I've got a trusty $2 bill just to demonstrate this. There's your little bill holder. And then I've got a gift card for Chipotle that I won by shaking my butt at a Christmas party. And then here is a Boston Market gift card, and you see that that fits in there nicely as well. Okay, so that's that. And then to hold this closed, we've been using these. We use these on the handy gift bags recently. They're little Velcro dots. And what we'll do is we'll peel back the backing on one side while keeping it connected to its other half. Pop that on this little flap here. Peel off the other side. Fold this over. Press down. And there you go. Now you've got, and the cool thing is this thing's kind of transparent. So, and there you go. You got a beautiful little wallet. Opens up. You got money in there. Gift cards in here. Again, if you're doing gift cards and you want to put a note in here, obviously you can do that. So that's that. That's closed up. And then finally, as I mentioned, going to do a little bit of, well, we'll throw some embellishments on here. So what I typically like to do is just throw a little bit of glue on a scrap piece of paper. I've got my handy pick-me-up tool. It's got a little tacky end, and then on the back, it's got a little tool that you can use. I'll show you how that works. So before we commit to anything here, I'm gonna see, because I've got different size rhinestones. Okay, obviously I don't want the big one in the corner here. It's way too big. So we're gonna go with the smaller ones. And with this tacky tip, you can pick up, you know what, I need some more scrap paper. I'm gonna use this. With my tacky tip here, I'll pick up my rhinestone, dip it in the glue, and then I typically just kind of rub some of it off because I don't want it exploding and shooting glue out all over the place. You can use it to position it where you want it, and then with the tool that was on the other end, you can push down so that you can lift up the tacky part, and there you go. And then you grab your next one, dip it in some glue, kind of rub some of it off, and pop that in place. Now I know that some of your rhinestones may come with a sticky back, but through experience, I've kind of realized that that stuff is not really that permanent, and there's been a number of times where I use the sticky back and then I go to photograph this, and what do you know? That rhinestone fell off. So we don't want to do that. We'll get this one in place, and then once it's on there, you can nudge it around with your fingers. It's just easier to work with when you have this little tool. Do the last one here. And get that in place. And then we've got one big one that we're going to put right in the center here. If you have something larger that you want to put there, you're more than welcome to. And there's my last one, a nice large one. Got it on here. And pardon my head for a second. I want to make sure I get this centered properly. And give that a little nudge. Whoa, whoops. Hey there. What are you doing, mister? He's in a party mode. That looks nice. Okay, and there you have it. Beautiful. So that's it. This is, again, a nice little piece, coordinating piece that would work well with any of these handbags, or even our hat cards. You can see here, I already gave one away, but these and that and this, you know, think Mother's Day, showers, a gift for your girlfriend, daughter, you know, daughter-in-law, whoever. Anyway, I'm gonna stop blabbing here. Hope you guys enjoyed the process. If you did, please take a moment and hit that subscribe button on our YouTube channel. Walked in the studio today, we had another 200 subscribers, so thank you to our 200 new subscribers. And if you make this or anything from any of our bundles actually, head over to your Facebook and do a search for Dreaming Tree Group, or again, you can use the little link below and join myself and the almost 19,000 dreamers that inspire us daily. So thank you so much for joining me, and I look forward to crafting with you again.